life is listening, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but literally? What if every living system, from plants to people, is responding, moment by moment, to vibration, frequency, and intention? Today, I want to explore a set of experiments, specifically plants and music. These experiments challenge one of the deepest assumptions of modern culture, that matter comes first, and consciousness is something that emerges later, almost accidentally. Instead, what we'll see is evidence pointing to the opposite direction, that energy organizes matter, that vibration shapes biology, and that life itself may be fundamentally responsive, aware, and intelligent, long before a brain ever appears. For centuries, plants have been treated as passive. No nerves, no brain, no consciousness. Just biological machines responding mechanically to light, water, and chemicals. But in the mid-20th century, a small group of researchers began asking a radical question. What if plants are not passive at all? What if they are highly sensitive, vibrationally aware organisms, tuned into their environments in ways we don't yet fully understand? One of the most compelling contributors to this question was Dr. T.C. Singh, head of the botany department of Annamalaya University in India. His work didn't involve belief, mysticism, or spirituality. It involved sound. Dr. Singh wanted to understand something very simple and very profound. Can sound alone influence biological growth? Not touch, not chemicals, not genetic modification, just vibration. In other words, can organized energy shape living matter? This question sits right at the intersection of bioenergetics, sound healing, and the idea that consciousness may be primary, not secondary. Dr. Singh designed a series of controlled experiments. Plants were grown under identical physical conditions. Same soil, same water, same light, same temperature. The only variable was sound. Some plants were exposed to Indian classical music, Western classical music, rhythmic, harmonically rich tones. Others were exposed to loud, chaotic, or dissonant noise, industrial sounds, irregular, harsh vibrations. And some plants were grown in silence as controls. Importantly, the sound was not loud. It wasn't forceful. It was simply present. Sound as vibration. Sound as information. What happened next was impossible to ignore. Plants exposed to harmonious music grew faster, grew taller, produced more biomass, developed stronger, healthier stems and leaves. Some plants even lean towards the sound source, as if orienting themselves to the vibration. At the cellular level, Dr. Singh observed increased cytoplasmic streaming, the internal movement of material within plant cells. This is critical because cytoplasmic streaming is directly tied to nutrient distribution, cellular communication, overall vitality. In other words, sound didn't just affect how plants looked, it affected how life moved inside them. Meanwhile, plants exposed to discordant or harsh noise showed stunted growth, developed weaker structures, in some cases deteriorated and died. Same genetics, same environment, different vibration. And here's where this research becomes more than botany. Because if sound, organized vibration, can influence plants at the cellular level, then biology is not just chemistry. It's information, it's energy, it's frequency. This supports a core principle of bioenergetics. Living systems are regulated not only by matter, but by energetic coherence. Plants responded not just to volume, but to harmony. Not to force, but to order. This mirrors what we see in sound healing, cymatics, and even modern physics. Coherent frequencies create structure. Chaotic frequencies create breakdown. Life appears to prefer coherence. Here's the question that changes everything. How does a plant with no brain, no nervous system, and no emotions as we define them know the difference? If plants can respond intelligently to vibration, then awareness cannot be limited to the brain. Instead, consciousness begins to look like a field phenomenon, a property of life itself, something organisms tune into, not generate. This challenges the idea that consciousness emerges from matter. Instead, matter may be shaped by consciousness, or at least by the same organizing principles that consciousness follows. Now let's bring this home. If plants respond to sound in this way, what about us? Our bodies are 70% water, constantly vibrating, electrically and energetically active at every moment. Our cells communicate through electrical signals, mechanical vibration, electromagnetic fields. So when we surround ourselves with noise, chaos, and incoherence, what are we feeding our biology? And when we immerse ourselves in music, chant, intention, coherent sound, what patterns are we reinforcing? This research suggests that healing is not just biochemical, it's vibrational. If plants are affected by sound, this quietly dismantles the mechanistic worldview. It suggests that life is not inert matter accidentally animated. Life is responsive. Life is sensitive. Life is listening. Plants don't need ears to hear. They need resonance. And perhaps so do we. When we understand that energy organizes matter, we begin to see ourselves not as isolated biological machines, but as participants in a living, conscious environment, one that is constantly responding to frequency, intention, and coherence. So the next time you listen to music, sit in silence, or work with sound intentionally, remember, you are not just hearing vibration. You are becoming it. Because life doesn't just exist in matter. Life emerges through energy, relationship, and resonance. If this perspective resonates with you, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's ready to rethink what life really is. And I'll see you in the next exploration. If this resonated, subscribe to Energy Over Matter for more energy medicine, nervous system regulation, and healing. You'll also find guided meditations and full episodes of Mind Over MS. Thanks for being here. Have a blessed day and a blessed life. Namaste.